Easily one of the most pleasant surprises of this test was Opera 10.5. In the previous comparison test, Opera 10.0 finished 4th. It had a few nice features, but it was slower than the rest of the browsers, with the exception of IE8, and it really didn't have anything exciting going for it. You might think that version 10.5 would just be a minor upgrade from that. You would be wrong. Using the SunSpider JavaScript test, Opera 10.5 has made a huge improvement, coming from the rear of the pack to the very top. It beat out Chrome by a very small margin, but still, that's quite impressive. The Mozilla Dromeo suite tells much the same story. Opera beats out both Safari and Chrome by a decent amount. The story is a bit different in Celtic Kane's JavaScript test, where Opera gets beaten by both Safari and Chrome. And helping to really confuse things, Chrome wins again in the Google V8 benchmark. Moving to the ACID 3 test, which doesn't focus so much on outright speed, it's a three-way tie between Chrome, Opera, and Safari, all with the perfect scores of 100. Where the clincher is, however, is in the Peacekeeper benchmark. Peacekeeper is a wide-ranging test that covers all kinds of common browser tasks, and in Opera 10.5 wins easily. While a lot of tests conflicted of whether Opera or Chrome is faster, I have to give the edge to Opera. Obviously, there's more to it than that, though. Something that you do every day is fire up your browser, so the faster it loads, the better. From a cold start, which is how long the program takes to load after you turn your computer on, Opera does a good job. It's only beaten out by Chrome, but it still manages to turn on in well under 3 seconds. It's not quite so good from a warm start, which is how fast the browser launches after it's been opened since you started your computer. It only improves just a little from its cold start time, which puts it in last. That said, last place is about 2.5 seconds, so it's not quite that bad. Memory usage is also a big factor in a browser, and it's safe to say that here, Opera 10.5 does quite well. Firefox beats it with both 1 and 8 tabs open, but it still does a respectable job at not eating up lots of computer resources. Opera 10.5 was a huge surprise. The interface went through a simple yet very effective overhaul, cutting out the top title bar, which gives it a very Chrome-like look with the tabs on top. It also features tight Windows 7 integration, both in the looks and functionality. Jump lists are fully supported, as are tabs showing the individual windows accessible from the taskbar. All of the menus have been pushed sideways into a small button on the top left, and this does a great deal of help towards cleaning up the browser. Opera contains a huge amount of options to really tweak just about anything you might like, right out of the box, and theme support is included. Not that it's at all necessary. Opera 10.5 looks fantastic as is. While add-on support isn't quite as robust as in Firefox, and I found that they sometimes aren't up to the quality that you would find in Firefox or Chrome, it's still up there, and it's quite handy. Put it all together, and you have a real killer browser. The main problem right now is that Opera 10.5 is an alpha, which means that it's very early and prone to crashing and lots of bugs. But that's not a bad thing. Before too long, it will be sorted out, and Opera will really be an excellent browser. All considered, I would say it's very deserving of its first place finish. Now, feel free to go back to the main video via the annotation on your screen to see how the rest of the browsers did.